activities in every, the Lord says, I am the knower of the field of activity in every individual body. The individual may be the knower of his own body, but he is not in knowledge of other bodies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present as the super soul in all bodies, knows everything that about all bodies. He knows all the different bodies of all the various species of life. Now here, Prabhupada is giving an example. He's saying a citizen may know everything about his patch of land. So he's giving it as an like we can consider this as a farmer. So farmer will know what is his patch of land. But the king not only knows his palace, but also properties possessed by the individual citizens. Similarly, one may be a proprietor of the body individually, but the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of all bodies. The king is the original proprietor of the kingdom, and the citizen is the secondary proprietor. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the supreme proprietor of all bodies. The body consists of the senses. The Supreme Lord is Hrishikesha, which means the controller of the senses. He is the original controller of the senses, just as the king is the original controller of all bodies of the state. The citizens are secondary controllers. The Lord says, I am also the knower. This means that he is the super knower. The individual soul knows only his particular body. In Vedic literature, it is stated as follows. Kshetrani hi sharirani bijam chapi shubha subhe tani veti sa yogatma tatah kshetragya uchet. The body is called Kshetra, and within it dwells the owner of the body, the Supreme Lord, who knows both the body and the owner of the body. Therefore, he is called the knower of all fields. The distinction between the field of activities, the knower of activities, and the supreme knower of activities is described as follows. Perfect knowledge of the constitution of the body, the constitution of the individual soul, and the constitution of the super soul is known in Vedic terms as Jnana. So this is an important point. So what is Jnana? So what is perfect knowledge is that it is the knowledge of the constitution of the body, the constitution of the individual soul, the constitution of the super soul is known in terms of Vedic knowledge literature as Jnana. That is the opinion of Krishna. That is the humility of Lord, that he is saying that this is my opinion, like he's the Lord, he can just command, but that his humility, he is saying that it is his opinion. To understand both the soul and the super soul, as yet distinct is knowledge. One who does not understand the field of activity and the knower of activity is not in perfect knowledge. So one has to understand the position of Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer of nature, Ishvara, the knower who dominates or controls nature and the individual soul. One should not confuse the three in their different capacities. One should not confuse the painter, the painting, and the easel. This material world, which is the field of activities, is nature. And the enjoyer of the nature is the living entity, and above them both is the supreme controller, the personality of Godhead. It is stated in Vedic language in Shvetashvara Upanishad 1.12, Bhoktaram Bhokta Bhogyam Preretram Cha Matva Sarvam Proktam Trividam Brahman Etet. There are three Brahman conceptions. Prakriti is Brahman as the field of activities. The Jiva or the individual soul is also Brahman and is trying to control material nature. And the controller of both of them is also Brahman, but he is the factual controller. In this chapter, it will also be explained that out of the two knowers, one is fallible and other is infallible. One is superior and the other is subordinate. One who understands the two knowers of the field to be one and the same contradicts the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who state here very clearly, I am also the knower of the field of activity. One who misunderstands a rope to be a serpent is not in knowledge. There are different kinds of bodies and there are different owners of the bodies. Because each individual soul has its individual capacity of lording it over the material nature, there are different bodies. This is another important point here, that each individual soul has individual capacity of lording over the material nature, and there are different bodies because of that. But the Supreme also is present in them as the controller. The word cha is significant, for it indicates the total number of bodies. That is the opinion of Srila Baladev Vidya Vibhushan. Krishna is the super soul present in each and every body apart from the individual soul. And Krishna explicitly says here that real knowledge is to know that the super soul is the controller of both the field of activities and the finite enjoyer. Om Agyanjana Timrantasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshum Tamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. So, the chapter today is titled Nature, the Enjoyer, and the Consciousness. And it's also said Kshetra, Kshetragya Vibhag Yoga. It's also known as this chapter in Sanskrit. So I would like to keep today's session a little bit more interactive. We will see where we finished yesterday's. Yesterday we were discussing there are 5 truths of Bhagavad Gita. We discussed about Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Karma, and Kala. So this is like a small diagram which we discusses what are these 5 truths. Ishvara is Krishna or God himself. Jiva is the living entity. And Prakriti is the material nature. And karma is action and reaction. Both are like, both show karma here. And Kala is the time. So these are the 5 truths which have been discussed, and how they are interrelated has been covered in Bhagavad Gita. And we discussed this yesterday. And let's go further. So we discussed about, there are 3 sections of Bhagavad Gita: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. Okay, so further to that, we said that chapter 1 to 6, how to achieve bhakti through one's work, that is Karma Yoga. Chapter 13 to 18, how to achieve bhakti through knowledge, that is Jnana Yoga. Chapter 7 to 12 is Bhakti Yoga. So, okay, now question is, why Jnana Yoga is needed? Like, or why Karma Yoga is needed? Like Krishna could have just told, that Bhakti Yoga is most important and just follow the Bhakti Yoga. Do these activities, do this. Like, he could have just given us the crux of the whole thing from chapter 7 through 12, and we could have just followed it. And why was the need of discussing we need Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga? Like, why was it even, suggested in the first place? Why was it required? Like, I would request everybody's participation here. So why do you think Krishna was like, why do you need Jnana Yoga? That's the question here. Or Karma Yoga. Like, there is no right or wrong answer. I'm just trying to make the session more interactive. So anybody could answer that question. Why Jnana Yoga is needed in the first place?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
I think that Krishna wanted to show that by comparing the 3 yogas, Krishna wanted to show that Bhakti Yoga is the most quickest way to go back to Godhead. And just like in case of, as an example, Uddhav was there. So he had Jnana Yoga. So that's why when he went, Krishna actually sent him to the gopis to teach him Bhakti Yoga, because that is the quickest way to go back to Godhead. eventually, like these all yogas are going to ultimately lead us to bhakti yoga only.
Yep, pretty good. What you're saying is right, Mataji. Anybody else wants to give the inputs?
I think Bhakti Yoga, are you able to hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes,
So
Prabhuji.
Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. So basically these are the, I mean, the moment you say yoga, connection with the Lord. So Jnana can be connected to Krishna with yoga. Buddhi can be connected to Krishna yoga. And these are the like gradations. Ultimately, when we involve Bhakti Jnana, that leads to Bhakti Yoga. And also that, the Bhakti Yoga, we may not, I would say, we all, none of us have pure Bhakti Yoga because we do Jnana Vishnu Bhakti, Karma Vishnu Bhakti. Through that Bhakti is only, and when you do that, God purifies slowly, then we come to ultimately Bhakti Yoga. So those are the steps that, everybody goes through. That's what I think.
Thank you, Gordon Prabhuji. Very nice. Anybody else want to add something? Prabhuji almost said everything. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Amritana Prabhuji. Very
This
good.
is Prabhupada.
Always good, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, there are different types of people with different levels of consciousness.
Mhm.
And Bhakti has been established to be the highest. Actually, all of us are devotees of the Lord. It's just that our illusion is separating us. And in that illusion, different people are stuck to different degrees. So Krishna makes it easy for everybody to come back to him by a person in a certain type of a consciousness. And we can see that even in non-spiritual work, there are people who are more inclined to do heavy lifting and labor, physical labor. There are some people who are more inclined to use their intellect and their brain, broadly speaking, blue collar and white collar. But whatever be your conditioning, that can be same thing what you're doing, can be utilized to bring you back to the level of Bhakti Yoga. So that's why there are these different processes to what Govardhan Prabhu says of connecting back to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It's a very nice answer. Yeah, anybody else want to add anything to that? Because this is an issue in today's world. That's why I thought I was trying to make it as a question here, that why Jnana Yoga is needed. And Srila Prabhupada has nicely mentioned about it, but before anybody, like I was trying to see who is giving the closest answers to what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita here. Anybody else want to give their input? And all are correct so far. Whatever has been told by all of you is perfectly correct. So, okay, I will, in the interest of time, I'll go forward. So what Srila Prabhupada is saying is, like, in today's world, if you see, the problem is that people want to just follow the religion, but, they are having some, blind faith into that. It is, they need good philosophy to back up what they are doing. So I will read what Srila Prabhupada has put. This is from in the Purport 3, chapter 3, and verse number 3 it is. So Prabhupada mentions like this. Just a second. Okay. The Lord has explained also in the 39th verse. He's talking about 239 here because this is third chapter we are talking here. That by working by the principles of Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness, one can be relieved from the bonds of action. So that's what we have been discussing so far. So that's what devotional services or Buddhi Yoga. And furthermore, there is no flaw in the process. So he's saying this Bhakti Yoga is good enough. There is no flaw in the process. The same principle is more clearly explained in the 61st verse, that is again 261, that Buddhi Yoga is dependent entirely on the Supreme, or more specifically on Krishna. And this way, all the senses can be brought under the control very easily. So again, he's saying that perfectly, Bhakti Yoga is the way to go forward. Therefore, both yogas are independent as religion and philosophy. So that's the point I was trying to see. Like, that's the issue which is happening in today's world. That religion without philosophy is sentiment and sometimes fanatism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So this is a very important point. That's the reason I thought I wanted to stress on that why Krishna is saying that, okay, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, but why Jnana Yoga is important here. That you should understand the philosophy, is just not blindly doing anything what you're doing. So you need to have the right philosophy, right understanding. Then what you're doing is backed up by the Jnana here. That's what is Jnana Yoga here. So, okay, so we'll go forward from here. Now, there's another question. Okay, now we have seen that as Govardhan Prabhu very nicely said that my question is, why did Lord decide to have the following paths? Karma Yoga to Bhakti Yoga and Jnana Yoga to Bhakti Yoga again. So I think it's already been answered by Govardhan Prabhu and very nicely by Amritanand Prabhu. So I will just repeat what Lord is saying here is, it's Bhagavad Gita 4:13, Lord Krishna is saying, according to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of the human society are created by me. So that's exactly, that we know that everybody has a mixture of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And based on that, these are the three modes of material nature, right? And based on that, the Lord has created the four divisions of human society. So now he wants all of us to progress. And if he just makes it, you can only do it by jnana, or you can do only by karma, or you can do it by bhakti, then like it becomes impossible for a person like me. I don't know about others, but I will not be able to do it because I know how to do karma, I don't even know jnana. So for me, okay, it's very easy that I do my work and I can then slowly progress, make Krishna happy. So that's the objective here. Well, okay, then we go to next. So if jnana is utilized to attain devotion, it becomes part of bhakti. Without touch, if bhakti, of bhakti, sorry, here, my apologies, of bhakti, both karma and jnana are useless. So that's the idea here, that bhakti is necessary and bhakti is most important, but like, because the way bhakti is in the middle of karma and jnana, it becomes helpful for us. Okay, so now Bhakti Yoga is kept in the middle of Bhagavad Gita, where it can remain in contact with both karma and jnana and thus lend value to both. So that's the point I was trying to say here. So now my next question would be, if bhakti is ultimate, why is jnana prescribed after the Bhakti Yoga section? So logically, I would say that I would have my Bhagavad Gita, which is organized starting with Karma Yoga, then Jnana Yoga, and then I go to Bhakti Yoga, or maybe other way, starting with Jnana Yoga and then Karma Yoga, then going to Bhakti Yoga. So if Bhakti is ultimate, then why did Lord have it at the end of the Bhakti Yoga section? Any answers to that question?
Maybe because bhakti can be protected by both jnana and what is the other one? Karma yoga. What is that?
Yep. Yeah, Karma Yoga, that's right.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Can protect by these two, putting in between. So protection of bhakti yoga.
Yep. Very, very, very good answer, Prabhuji. Anybody else want to add to that?
But I have a question on Govardhan Prabhu's point. If bhakti is superior, then how can something inferior protect it?
Prabhuji, your voice is breaking. Can you be closer, please?
Haribo?
Yes, now you're good, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, Govardhan Prabhu's point.
Yes.
Does bhakti need protection? Because if bhakti is superior,
right,
then how is it that something which is incomplete, so to say, protect something which is complete?
Okay, because like I don't know, anybody else want to answer that before I put my inputs there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Ashish.
All glories to Prabhu. All glories to Prabhu. So Prabhuji, in my what I'm thinking that if it is like that, the karma yoga is basic knowledge, then the superior knowledge with bhakti yoga, and then supporting with the important gyan, means knowledge or technical knowledge,
Right.
is proving that bhakti is superior. So jnana is superior. People see that the jnana is superior compared to bhakti, but with supporting with jnana to bhakti, that's might be a last point.
Who is that Prabhu talking? Name, please.
His name is Ashish Prabhu. I think
Ashish
Prabhu.
Paliwal, this is.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, just want to know name. Thank you so much.
Ashish Paliwal Prabhu. I think I'm confused by your answer here. You're saying that jnana is superior to bhakti. Is that what I understand from you, Prabhuji? Is that correct?
No, Prabhuji. I am saying the karma is a basic thing that
Correct.
we all do karmas, and
Yes.
giving the main knowledge is bhakti yoga, and supporting with the gyan.
Okay, supporting with the gyan. Okay.
So that's why it's Bhagwan is trying to supporting it with the knowledge.
Okay. I see. Yeah, I think Prabhuji, we have to also keep going through forward. So I'll just answer to what I think is, maybe again there could be more better answers to me. So what I think to your answer, Amritanand Prabhu, is that as I have read in a lot of places, the most treasureful thing is always buried. So the way what I've heard from senior devotees is that Lord Krishna wanted to bury it, the bhakti information, so that if somebody who's very sincere, right, he will go through all the way into the depth and try to get it. So when a lot of people, they take the book, either they will read the first few pages or they'll read the last few pages. But somebody who's very sincere will go through the entire book. They'll go through the entire stuff. And, so just like that somebody calls it like a sandwich model. So in the sandwich model, we have one bread on the top, other bread on the bottom, and the main part of the sandwich is kept in the middle. So a lot of people say that Bhagavad Gita is based on the concept of sandwich model, and that's what I believe Govardhan Prabhu was trying to say, that Lord Krishna wants to keep it safe from people just going by and just taking it. I hope that answers your question, Prabhuji.
Kind of.
Yeah,
I was just
so
trying to draw an analogy with in the sports arena, where you have the first, second, third. The first is between second and third. The highest spot is between the lowest and the next lowest spot. So if you see the podium on which the athletes stand, there is the third place. Then next to the third place, raised much higher, is the first place. And then next to it is the second place. So in the similar way, Karma Yoga is the third. The Bhakti Yoga is the first place. And then next to it, at a little lower, but higher than number 3, is Jnana at second place.
Okay, I agree that, yeah, that's a good answer. It's a very good analogy, I'll say. It's a very good analogy. But I'm still like looking, so like I will answer to this question here, like, if Bhakti is ultimate, then why did Krishna keep Jnana section after the Bhakti Yoga section? So as we read in the last chapter, so I'm talking of 12th chapter, because we're currently on 13th chapter. So 12th chapter, verse number 6 and 7. So we'll just go to that. So this is like verse 12:7, where Lord Krishna is saying, Tesham aham samudartha mrityu sansara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha mai avishita cheshtatham. So what Lord Krishna is saying is, like, the entire translation is like, but those who worship me, giving up all the activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotion service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pratha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So that's the core thing here. That's why, like, Lord first gave us the devotion service is most important. And unalloyed devotion service is the best. And what he was saying at the end of 11th chapter. But then here he comes and he says that, that if you have to come out of this ocean of birth and death, then you should have the knowledge for that. And that's the knowledge he's trying to give us in from 13th chapter verse through 18th chapter. So that's the reason, he put the Jnana Yoga section after the Bhakti Yoga section. I hope that answers that question. Okay, now we'll go further. So yeah, I think I've covered that point. Now, okay, so what we covered yesterday. So yesterday we covered, again, let me just do some adjustments here, just a second. Yeah. Now, what we covered yesterday was text 1 and 2, where Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know Prakriti, that is nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and object of knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this body, O son of Kunti, is called field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field." So, like we see here, 13.1, Arjuna is asking 6 questions. Similar to our chapter 8, where Arjuna, I believe, asked, 8 questions or something like that, or 6 or 8 questions. That's where he asked again, and the whole chapter was dedicated to Arjuna's question. Similarly, this whole chapter has been dedicated to Arjuna's questions. So Lord is answering just the 6 questions in this whole chapter. So first, like immediately he answers first thing. What he says is, the Supreme Personality of God said, this body, O son of Kunti, is called field. So Arjuna asks, what is, okay. Yes, so Arjuna's first question was, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field. So Lord immediately said, okay, what is field? Is the body is the field. Okay, then what he says is, and the knower of the field, and the knowledge, and the object of knowledge. And then he says, one who knows this body is called the knower of the body. So basically, immediately he has answered 2 of the questions here. So we see question number 3 and question number 4 have been answered immediately by the Lord in the second verse. Then he further goes to elaborate this. Okay. So anyway, so I will just go over the questions of Arjuna again here. So Arjuna said, oh my dear Lord, I wish to know Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, field, and the knower of the field, and knowledge and object of knowledge. So these are the 6 questions. And the Lord is saying that this body is field, is material body, is the field. And who knows this body is the knower of the field, and that is the soul. So he is immediately answering to 2 of the 6 questions asked. Like these are just my notes there. So now question to you all is, why is Lord Krishna calling this body as field or kshetra? It's an interesting analogy what Lord is doing here. So let's see what you guys have to add to that. Why is Lord Krishna saying, calling Arjuna this body as field or kshetra? What is kshetra or field? I'm just trying to give some hints here. In Hindi or Sanskrit, we also call khet. So what is khet?
Prabhuji, yeah. So without body, everything is performed by body only. Whatever jnana we are acquiring is by our brain. So that is a part of our body. And then whatever we do, karma yoga. So karma also without body we cannot perform. So that is, for that also body required. And then bhakti, when we go closer to Krishna and we are more in bhakti. So that is also means devotional service we do and all that. So that is also related to our body. So body is very important. That's why he's saying kshetrajna, right? Kshetra, right?
Yeah, that is good. Good answer, Mataji. Yeah, very, very good. Very good try. I really appreciate you have covered quite a good part I was looking for. But I'm still looking for something which is really close to this, So you are like, I'll say 60% close, Mataji. Sorry,
No problem. Very good.
Yeah. Anybody like, why is Krishna calling this body Kshetra? The first thing he says, this body is Kshetra, his body is the field. Why is he saying that?
Because body, body is a field, because this body is compared with the like temple, that all the parts of the body, senses, etc., is used for the kshetrajna, who is the Krishna, through the senses, something like that. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Good point. You're close, Rosie.
But-
Anybody else? Yes,
Yeah,
Gunjan Mataji.
I'll just guess.
Yes, sure, please.
So maybe because the soul only can control its body, that's why it is its kshetra. It cannot control outside its body. Soul is limited to its kshetra, so that's why it's called kshetra. I'm just guessing, Prabhuji. I'm not
Yep,
sure.
you're almost 85% there. Wow, amazing answer and very nice answer. Thank you. Anybody else?
Very
Thank
well,
you.
Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, Amritan Prabhuji.
If you use the analogy of the field,
Right.
you plant seeds in the field, and the field nurtures and
Mhm.
fructifies the fruit or the plant that you have planted. So similarly,
Mhm.
our soul has all these desires, and body is the means through which that planting happen, the sowing of the seeds happen, and the results also are accrued by the body. So that's why they call it the field.
Wow, just the answer I was looking for. 100% there, Roji. 100% there. Exactly. So actually, what we are like in Bible, they say, "As you sow, so shall you reap." Right, and that's what it means here. So it's like whatever activities we are doing, that's what we are going to reap. Reaping is harvesting. So I'll just sorry again. I have to do some adjustments. Oops. Okay. Yep. So this is my answer here. The kshetra is basically the field or the body or the harvesting of the happiness and the distress. That's what is going to happen. The soul does not can get the happiness or the distress via the body. So just like the farmer is separate from the field, right? But whatever he has sown in the field, that's what he's going to reap. He cannot like we say like आप क्या नीम बोएंगे और आपको आम किधर से मिलेगा, right? So बोया पेड़ क्या नीम का, and how do you expect आम to come out, right? So that's the idea here. Or the mango is going to come out. So aam means mango, sorry. So basically that's why Lord Krishna is saying that this body is the field, and what we are harvesting or reaping here is the happiness and distress. And Amritan Prabhuji, thank you. That's a very nice answer. I was exactly looking for that answer here. Okay, let's see what's my next question. Okay, so why is Lord Krishna calling the soul as the Kshetrajna? And I believe that has been answered by you again, so we won't spend time on that. Said because nicely you have answered that because the soul can get the knowledge of the happiness or the distress, the body what it was looking for, the body, it was desiring to get certain happiness, and with the happiness also will come certain distress, but the soul is going to be experiencing these. That's why it's called the Kshetrajna. So we understand what is Kshetra, we understand what is Kshetrajna. Good. So we go to the next section now. So yeah, so basically Kshetrajna is the knower of the body, possessor of the body, that's the soul. Now, and Srila Prabhupada will just go through the purport quickly here, which is from the yesterday's purport. Okay, so the field of activity is the body. And what is the body? The body is the made of senses. The conditioned soul wants to enjoy sense gratification, and according to his capacity, now this is an important thing, is that capacity is important. To enjoy sense gratification, he is offered a body or field of activity. Why the word capacity is important is because whatever he like what we can feel, like just I'm putting an example for a taste, right? We have the taste buds. We can taste hot, sour, sweet, like again, like there are so many different tastes we can go by, but there may be so many creatures, they can't even taste the stuff, they just eat it just without any taste in them. So that capacity is not there. Why? Because whatever the karma they have done, based on the karma, the material nature has offered them this body, and based on the body they can do a certain type of sense enjoyment, not just like that. So therefore As further said is, therefore the body is called the kshetra or the field of activities for the conditioned soul. Okay, then we also understand by a little contemplation that we are different from the body. So just like I said, the farmer is different from the field. So that's same way we are different from the body, because we are the soul, but we are different from the body. And I or you are, or anyone else who owns the body is called kshetragya, the knower of the field of activities. And the body is called kshetra, the field of activities itself. Okay. So Satyabhama Mataji, thanks for your answer. And you did cover a lot of points in here. Appreciate your answer, Mataji. Thank you. Okay, we'll go further. So yeah. The conditioned soul wants to enjoy sense gratification, and according to his capacity is offered a body which is called kshetra. The person who should not identify himself with the body is called kshetragya. Sometimes we think, I am happy, I am man, I am woman, I am dog, I am cat. These are the bodily designations of the knower, but the knower is different from the body. The same point is being repeated by Srila Prabhupada in yesterday's purport. We'll go further. So although we may use many articles, our clothes, etc., we know that we are different from the things we use. Similarly, we also understand by little contemplation that we are different from the body. And same thing is true for our subtle body also. So our subtle body is also different from our material body. Okay. So now, so Kshetragya is Krishna too, and Jnanam is the perfect knowledge. So this is today's verse. So we'll go to today's verse. Let's cover this thing here. The treat. So today's verse is Kshetra Jnanam Chapi Mam Vidhi. So Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata Kshetra Kshetragyor Jnanam Yat Tat Jnanam Matam Mam. So Lord is saying here, Kshetra Jnanam, to understand that I am also the knower. So Kshetra Jnanam Chapi Mam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. So Sarva means all. In all kshetras, in all the fields, Bharata, so in all bodies, Osana Bharata, that I am also the knower of all the bodies. And to understand this body and its knower, so to understand that this is the body and who is the knower of this body is called knowledge. That is my opinion. So Lord is giving his opinion, as I said. So there are 3 topics which have been discussed. I think I'll just go forward. Okay, fast. So Krishna says, I am also the knower, but I am not the individual knower of the body. I am the super knower. So is that the super knower? See, we going back to that chapter, like we have, it is the name of the chapter is nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness. So nature is the material nature, and the enjoyer could be the soul, enjoyer or sufferer. Here it could be like the soul and the super soul, and the consciousness, right? So basically the consciousness is happening here because, like the Lord is saying, I am the super knower. So he is super conscious, and whereas we are conscious. So that's the idea here, that the Lord is super conscious of all the bodies, of all the of what is happening in each and everybody's body, because he is sitting as the Paramatma or the super soul. Further, it says, a citizen may know everything about his patch of land, but the king knows not only his palace, but all the properties possessed by the citizens. Similarly, one may be the proprietor of the individual body individually, but the Lord is the proprietor of all bodies. The king is the original proprietor of the kingdom, and the citizen is the secondary proprietor. So we are the secondary proprietors, but the Lord is the supreme proprietor of all the bodies. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the supreme proprietor of all the bodies. Okay. So going forward, out of the 2 knowers, one is fallible and the other is infallible. One is superior and the other is subordinate. One who understands that the 2 knowers of the field to be one and the same contradicts the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who states here very clearly, I am also the knower of the field of activities. So the point here is being made that people who say that I am God, me and God are one and the same. So that is incorrect. That's the point Srila Prabhupada is making in this few lines here. That one who understands that the two knowers of the field to be one and the same contradicts the Supreme Lord. Because Lord himself is saying that I am different and the soul is different. And I am the super knower and you are just the knower. So one who misunderstands a rope to be a serpent is not in knowledge. So that's a very nice example Srila Prabhupada is giving here. That if somebody thinks that, like, just like, that I am God, he's like, it's just like saying that I am the rope, but I am like a serpent, so that is stupidity. So that's why he's saying that one who understands a rope to be a serpent is not in knowledge. So going to, like, I'll just add this thing from the purport of Bhagavad Gita 2.22, and where Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here some details. I'll just read that. The Vedas, like the Mukad Upanishad as well as the Svetaswara Upanishad, compare the soul and the super soul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. Now this tree is of material nature. The body is the tree here in this case. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree. So fruit of the tree, is, we said, is action and reaction, right? That's what is happening, the karma, that's the fruit of the tree. And the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching, is his friend. Of these two birds, although they are of the same quality, so qualitatively we may be similar. One is captivated by the fruit of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of the friend. Krishna is witnessing the bird, is the witnessing bird, and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and other is the servant. The important point is forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of the changing position from one tree to another tree. So tree is the body, as I mentioned here. So basically, we have forgotten our relationship, which is very important point here with the Lord. And that's the reason we are changing our position from one tree to another tree, or from one body to another. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do, voluntarily surrender unto the Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. So that brings us to the conclusion of today's verse. So that is Kshetra Jnanam Chapi Mam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. O Scion of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies. So basically, this says that Kshetragya is Krishna too. And Kshetragyor Jnanam Yat Tach Jnanam Matam Mam. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. So Jnanam is perfect knowledge. That what is the knowledge? That material body plus soul and super soul. So having the full understanding, that is called knowledge. Okay, with that, I will conclude today's presentation. So if anybody has any questions, please.
So Prabhuji, so Kshetra, Kshetrajna. Kshetra is soul, Kshetrajna is super soul. Am I correct? Or?
So no, Prabhu. Kshetra is the field. Kshetra we just said, right? Field.
Right.
And Kshetragya is one who knows the field. So who knows the field? Is the soul knows the field, right? I know my body.
Right.
So I know what is happening in my body. In fact, it is said even I don't know what is happening in my body. That's the reason I go to the doctor and he does an MRI, because he also does not know what is happening in my body, right? But if you look at the Lord, Krishna knows exactly what is happening in everybody's body. So he is the Kshetragya for all the bodies, right? So there are two knowers in our body, the soul and the super soul. And this body is the Kshetra.
So Kshetrajna is soul and super soul both. Am I correct?
That's correct, yes. And the super soul is the super knower.
Right. Okay. So super soul knows all other bodies and soul knows only our body. So
correct.
So Kshetrajna means soul and super soul both.
Correct. Yes, that's right. And that is knowledge. That understanding this material body and the soul and the super soul. So when we have the full understanding of, when we're saying understanding of the body, what it means is how it is composed. Like we'll discuss this further in verse 6 and 7 of this chapter, where we discuss, that what are the 5 elements it is made of. That is the Jnana, that's the Jnana understanding, analytical understanding of the body, right? So
Mhm.
what are the indriyas? What are the 24?
Right. Made of Panchabhutas, then
Correct,
subtle body,
correct.
gross body. What
Exactly.
happens at death of all
Right.
those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is part of this knowledge.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Prabhuji.
Sure. No.
Somebody was talking in between. Sorry, I disturbed.
So Kshetra is matter, and the knower of matter is soul and the super soul.
Super. Yeah, that's a way. Yeah,
Yep.
that's very nice.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, like the knower of this body, which is Kshetrajna,
Yeah.
is that also the doer?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
It is because the Kshetrajna has desires, right? And based on his desires, he did something, and based on that, he got an action and reaction, and based on that, material nature decided, okay, you qualify to get, like we say, we have 8,400,000 species of life, and basically these are the apartments. So based on the credits, just like I can put a certain credit and I can get an apartment, or I can rent an apartment. So based on all the credits, good and bad, I'm given a certain credit value. Based on that, the material nature decides, okay, that I qualified out of this 8.4 million species of life. This is the apartment. These are the few apartments which I can get. And then based on my desires and based on my actions and reactions, what good or bad I have done and what I have supposed to experience, based on that, finally the Lord decides, okay, this is the best body that can be given to certain soul or a jiva here. I hope that answers your question, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. So when we say Kshetra, right, like is it like the nature, gross body, and the subtle body? All three are included as part of the Kshetra. Is it like that, or matter falls into altogether a different category?
No, I think there's a confusion. There are two things here. There is subtle body and gross body. What is the third thing you said? I'm not sure, because I understand only two things. Subtle body is mind, intelligence, and false ego, right? And the gross body is made of the 5 Mahabhutas, earth, water, fire, air, ether, right? Panchabhutas, right? So I understand the material body and I understand the subtle body. What is the third thing you are saying, Mataji?
I think what Mataji said, because Kshetra means that includes subtle body as well as gross body. That Kshetra,
Right.
because that is almost like a matter.
Right, that's correct. Actually, like if you see, like when we come to the knowledge of understanding, see, that's the whole idea of Jnana Yoga, that we understand what are we, how we are a soul, right? So we are having these coverings, right? So we are like these coverings of the 24 elements, around us. So like if you go to the 6th and the 7th verse of the chapter, we can dive into detail, but just to keep it short here. So because we are having these, the gross elements are the Panch Mahabhutas. There's earth, water, air, fire, and ether. And then the subtle body. So we are not either of these, because the material body is made of these Panch Mahabhutas. And the subtle body is made of knowledge,
mind, intelligence, false
mind,
ego.
Mind, intelligence, false ego. So we are different from our mind. We are not our mind, we know that. And we are different from our intelligence. And again, our false ego is not what we are. Our identity is not the false ego. So, the point I'm trying to make is that we are different from all these elements. So we are on all these elements are creating the Kshetra. So these subtle elements and the material elements are creating the Kshetra or the body. Right?
Yeah.
And we as a soul are separate, but somehow we got entangled into this. And that's the whole chapter discusses going forward, that how we got entangled and how we can come out of that. That's the interesting thing. This is one of the most technically complex, but most, deep chapters in whole of Bhagavad Gita. So, it took me a while to get a hang of few things in this chapter. Still there are things when I read, I still get knowledge about that. So I'll just leave it there, Mataji. Thank you.
But you explained very well, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. So I mean, what I was asking was the material nature is definitely different than, I mean, the Kshetra, as you said, like is nothing but the gross body and the subtle body together. That
That's
constitutes.
correct. Yeah. Okay. Now I understand what you're trying to say. Let me go back
Correct.
to the slide. Yeah. Okay. Let me go back. Sorry. Actually, I'm not very comfortable using this application on the computer. So first. See, I think this is what you are trying to discuss, right? So this is the material nature, Mataji. I think you're talking about Prakriti. That's what I think you believe. You're talking about Prakriti or the material nature.
Yes,
And
yes.
and Jiva has got entangled into this material nature based on whatever actions or reactions he did. So if he is doing Sakam Karma, right? Sakam Karma Yoga, then he is getting entangled here. But if he's doing Nishkam Karma Yoga, then he goes to the Lord. So basically yoga is getting tied to back to the Lord. So it's like we are the living entity and we are getting stuck either into the material world, and that's what I got your point, and or we are going back to the Lord based on what actions we are doing, and based on that what reactions we are doing, we are getting. Based on that, and that's why the whole concept of akarma is there. So akarma is that we are not going to get any reactions of the work we are doing, and still we are working, and that allows us to be reaction free, and then we can go back to the Lord. I hope this little diagram explains that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I wanted to make a point that the 8.4 million species, it's those at the human form, karma is attached with them. My understanding is the lowest species, like whatever dog, bacteria, they keep ascending from the aquatics to the land, to the birds, insect, whatever.
Right.
There's a hierarchy that after death, they take the next form. But the human form of life with a higher intellect, the choices that we make incur karma. So we can either get liberated, go back to Godhead, or get stuck. And based on that account balance you were talking of, either get a very comfortable, more comfortable life than on Earth, like some Indralok or wherever, higher planetary system.
Yes, Andrew. Yep.
Or a lower planetary system, or a lower form. We could become a dog or something.
Correct.
So that's the karma application.
Yes, correct. That's right, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah, one more point is that karma is only applicable to the human platform.
Yes.
Not any
Absolutely. Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu. Absolutely. Yep.
Yes, because like we have something which others don't have, that is called the intelligence to discriminate what is right versus what is wrong. So
Yeah.
we have got some extra faculty which not every living entity on the planet has. So with every, as they say, with every power, you have to get more responsibilities. So the responsibility is how do we do the karma then? The karma becomes our responsibility, which does not apply to all other living entities here.
Absolutely.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, it's overtime, I think, but I have one just query that in purport Prabhupada written, one has to understand the position of Prakriti, that is nature, Purusha, the enjoyer of nature, and the Ishvara, the knower of who dominates and controls the nature and individuals also. I just first time I read that I get confused that Purusha, we refers the Purusha, the enjoyer, also the Lord sometimes.
Yes, you're right. Actually, as Krishna is always the enjoyer, Prabhuji. We are the enjoyed, but we have a tendency that we want to enjoy, and that's why we are stuck here. So, and that is the problem, that nature is the material nature, obviously, and the enjoyer is, we are finite enjoyers and he is the infinite enjoyer. So, and because of this, like, because we are his part and parcel, so we want to enjoy, but we are enjoying the wrong way. He's saying don't, he's not saying not to enjoy, he's saying enjoy, but enjoy with me, you know. Just like a small, like a child likes to enjoy with his parents, you know, he will if he gets a chocolate, he will first bring it to his mom or dad, why don't you try it, and then I'm going to try it, you know. So that is the mood. The Lord is just looking for that mood, that the living entity should realize what he has done, you know. The Lord did so much for us. If you just look at, just stand out and just see, like, you know, if you come out of the earth, you stand on the moon and see, everything on the earth is so pleasant, you know, right from all the seasons, the whole planet, the weather, everything is just perfect. We are going and messing with it. We don't even have a feeling of gratitude for him. So he feels pained, you know, just like a father who does everything for his child and the child does not even acknowledge anything for it. Just imagine what the pain the father goes through. Similarly, the Lord goes through all these pains in his heart, you know, that I'm doing so much for these idiots, but they don't even realize, you know, what I have done for them. You know, if you go to 15th chapter, the Lord gives very nicely that even how we are digesting our food is dependent on his mercy. We can't even digest our food. We can't even think. We can't even do anything. So our entire material body, you know, everything is his mercy. But out of, you know, ignorance and false ego, we, on pride, like an illusion, we are like thinking that, oh, we are God, we are like, you know, we are not less than him, we want to challenge the Lord. So it's like you know, we are trying to behave childish here. So sometimes Lord says, okay, you know, well, you decide yourself what you are. So I hope that answers your question, Prabhuji.
Yeah, got it, Prabhuji. So here the jivas mentioned on the place of Purusha, right, Prabhuji?
Correct. Yeah, the jiva is the Purusha, and the Purusha is the supreme enjoyer also here. The Lord is also the enjoyer here, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so the nature is the material nature. The living entity is the enjoyer. The supreme personality of Lord Head is the supreme enjoyer. The living entity has consciousness, and the supreme Lord has the super consciousness. So that's the objective of, like, actually this chapter, if you read in different books, this chapter has different names, but Srila Prabhupada very nicely has labeled this chapter so intelligently, you know, that just by the name of the chapter, we can figure out what is he trying to say. But the whole chapter has been put in 3 words. Basically, he's just said nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness. And that's the whole chapter sitting in there. So if I pick up some other Bhagavad Gita or any other book, everybody is naming it in such a way, I get confused. What are they trying to say here? But Srila Prabhupada has nicely put nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness, and that exactly explains this whole chapter in 3 words.
Jai. Anybody else has anything to add? Any questions? Any comments? Any other concerns? Don't worry about the time. We have lots of time. We spend a lot of time for ourselves. This is for the Lord. Nobody has anything to add? Okay. Yeah, if there is nothing else, let's bring this to the conclusion. Thank you, Sankarshan Prabhuji. Nice class, nice discussions, nice points. It's pretty much explained in detail about the 3 aspects of the nature, the enjoyer, and the consciousness, and the questions, 6 questions Arjuna asked. What are those? It's nicely covered. So if there is nothing else, let's conclude. Yeah, it was excellent class. Tomorrow we will not have class. Tomorrow is His Holiness Bhakticharya Swami Maharaj Tirobhav Mahotsav is starting around 6:30. So we would humbly request everybody please join at the temple. And then Thursday we will have the class, and then Friday also will have the class. Yeah. So tomorrow we will not have class. And thank you so much for joining, and please join continuously. So this is a systematic study of Bhagavad Gita. So thank you so much. Let's pay our obeisance to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarupasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patidanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo.
Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Gaura
Jai.
Premanandi. Hari Hari.
Hari Bol.
Very good.
Thank you so much, Sankarshan Prabhuji. Very nice class. Wonderful.
Hare Krishna.
Hari
Thank you,
Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sankarshan Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.